Yeah, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Matthew Maley for MatthewMaley.com. As you can probably guess by the fact that I'm sitting on my couch and I've got my Iron Man mask on, I just got done seeing the Avengers. So, wanted to do a quick wrap up, wanted to tell you guys my opinion of it, and well, let's get right to it. So, I actually was able to see it on opening day, but wasn't able to check it out in IMAX 3D when it first came out. So I decided that I was going to definitely see it just to compare it. I'm not a big fan of the whole 3D movement, whatever. I think most of them are kind of corny. I liked the whole 3D movies when I was a kid, but I just kind of felt that it had lost kind of its luster. To me, kids movies being 3D. Adult movies, not so much. But because it is an action movie and because of how Josh Whedon had said he was filming it, I decided to check it out. So that's why you had to wait a couple extra days to see my opinion of this flick, because you guys knew I was going to be checking it out. So for those who don't know the basic story of the Avengers, the premise is Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson, who has been in all of the films up to this point, and his S.H.I.E.L.D. team, which also has Agent Coulson, who I don't remember what that guy's name is, but he is awesome. Hold on, I gotta give him a shout out. Clark Gregg. Clark Gregg has been in all the movies as Agent Coulson of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's been awesome. But Nick Fury's goal with the Avengers Initiative is to bring together a team of all of these superheroes among Earth in an effort to protect whatever possibility could happen. And that possibility just so happens to be Loki, which is Thor's brother. And I'll get into exactly what carries over from each movie in a second. But I want to do a quick wrap up. So in his attempt to show that he's much more dominant than Thor, Loki decides to partner with an invading alien race and makes a deal that they will help him take over Earth so Loki can force Earth to kneel before him and finally achieve his goal of complete domination in exchange for the Tesseract. Now, if you're asking what that is, well, that means you haven't seen the end of Captain America. The Tesseract, or really parts of Thor. The Tesseract is a cube from the planet of Asgard that controls literally unparalleled energy. In the size of barely bigger than a Rubik's Cube, it has enough energy harnessed inside to annihilate the entire planet. It works to create a portal to the other side of the galaxy. Again, you need to see Thor. And based on this trade, the alien race will get the cube, Loki will get his subjugated population, and everybody's happy. Well, S.H.I.E.L.D. has a different idea of that and ends up putting together the Avengers. Those, of course, are all of the previous Marvel movies that have been coming out, such as Robert Downey Jr. playing Tony Stark / Iron Man in Iron Man 1 and 2. Of course, you have Chris Hemsworth, who played the very awesome Thor in Thor, as well as Chris Evans, who played Captain America, first Avenger. And then you also had the Incredible Hulk, who had previously had 2 films, the last one being done by Edward Norton, but there was reports of him being a little bit of a diva, fighting about money, whatever. So he ended up passing, or they passed on him, and instead they got Mark Ruffalo, which was awesome. We'll get into that in a second. As well as some carryover characters from these other movies, such as Scarlett Johansson playing Black Widow from Iron Man 2, or as her name really is, Natasha Romanoff, as well as the character of Hawkeye, which is Clint Barton, and is played by my dude, Jeremy Renner, who had an uncredited cameo in Thor simply to introduce his character. So what I really liked about this film is that there was a lot more undertones than in some of the previous ones. Some of the previous ones have been a little bit more fun and happy, whereas this movie actually delved a little bit deeper, if you will. there is some carryover. Actually, there is a lot of carryover. What I will say, before you see the Avengers, obviously make sure you've seen the first two Iron Mans, because those very much tie in. But Thor also has a huge tie-in as well. Everything about the Tesseract, everything about Loki and Thor's relationship, Thor's original relationship, why he loves Earth so much. Those are all really important things. As well as Stellan Skarsgård, who plays Professor Selvig. He's a carryover from Thor and is actually a pretty important character in the Avengers. So definitely make sure you've seen those. The one that doesn't really carry that much over is Captain America, the First Avenger. You do need to know some of the things like towards the end of that about how Captain America plane crashed, how he was de-thawed by Tony Stark's father, and that's when he first found the Tesseract. So I definitely would say, if you can, see all the movies, see all the Marvel movies before you see this. The Incredible Hulk isn't as important. Everybody pretty much knows the Hulk story. He gets mad, he turns into a green smashing thing. Pretty simple. So what I really did like about this film is it was the first time that it actually addressed deeper issues regarding S.H.I.E.L.D. Every time we've known of S.H.I.E.L.D., Nick Fury's group, played by Samuel L. Jackson, and also one of the main characters in S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Coulson, played by Clark Gregg, you've always seen them as good guys. And in this, and I'm not giving anything away, and I'm not even saying that they're bad guys, but it actually brings up a couple points that haven't been brought up to this instance, in any of the films. And I really liked how they did that. They had a little bit more of a heavy undertone to it. And a good part of the movie is actually trying to get all of these individual people and these individual egos and these individual, issues they all have with each other to actually be on the same team. For a good part of the movie, really it's inner squabbling, if you will. But when they finally are able to come together, it is the most epic of payoffs. The build-up is very well done, and I thought that one thing that was most impressive to me was that none of the characters had a starring role per se. I really was worried that it was going to be like essentially Iron Man 3 starring the other Avengers, or it was going to be Thor 2 starring the other Avengers, or something like that, where it really wasn't. They actually let Loki be the star of the movie, and everybody else had their complement scenes. And one thing that I thought was well done is that all the other Avengers got their own screen time. But what I liked is that it wasn't one by one, because I think that would have been kind of corny if they paraded each one out. Hey, here's Incredible Hulk scene. Hey, here's Thor scene. It wasn't like that. Most of the scenes had 2 or 3 of them, and it would be Thor and going against Captain America, and then Iron Man would come in, and it was stuff like that. I really liked how they filmed it, and the way that they gave all of the characters their own amount of time, but still together as a group. Another one, I really thought that Jeremy Renner's character was going to get overlooked as Hawkeye, but he was actually one of the most prominent characters, which I really liked. I really thought that it was smart to let Loki lead the movie, and it really showed his level of growth from Thor. I thought in Thor he was kind of a little pansy and just, was a jealous little baby brother, whereas this really showed his growth, and I was very impressed by it, to be quite honest. He really, I can't say he stole the movie, but he definitely stole a few scenes. I'll definitely say that. It's tough when you're competing with Robert Downey Jr. because he's a one-man scene stealer. That's what he is, and he always has been. That's why he was so perfect as Tony Stark. So the build-up of the movie is very well done, in my opinion, and it adds elements of what if. It adds elements of deceit, deception, fighting, all that. And there's a couple scenes that are just crazy when it comes to that. But the real payoff of the movie is when the alien invasion actually starts. And again, I'm not spoiler alert or anything. This is all stuff that you saw in the trailer. And when that alien invasion starts in New York City, Oh my God, it becomes truly one of the best action movies I can remember. Definitely, right there with any other comic book movie, and in my opinion, by far the best Marvel movie. My favorite Marvel movie up to this point was Iron Man 1, and this at least meets it and probably exceeds it. That's how well done it was. The only movie that, in my opinion, in terms of comic book movies that would compete is The Dark Knight. I thought The Dark Knight was amazing, and it's different though. It's different to compare because he's always been dark and angsty, where this movie finally started going into those kind of dark levels of, these people are different. What do we do? And the levels of isolation and stuff like that, I really thought was good that they even went into, but it still was nowhere near the level of Dark Knight. So a totally different thing, in my opinion. But when that action starts going with that final battle, which goes on for probably about 30, 40 minutes, it is awesome. And what I loved is it was a 2.5 hour long movie, but Joss Whedon did an amazing job of keeping it perfectly moving. There's never a point, and I've seen it twice now, there was never a point where you're like, really? This scene, really? They could have cut this? Nothing like that. I legitimately, even after seeing it twice, so I've sat through about 5 hours worth of Avengers, never did I feel that. And it really, really shows to how well it was written, how well it was directed, and how well it was paced. It had an amazingly well done story arc, and I give complete props to Joss Whedon for that, because Joss was in charge of the writing, the directing, everything he did. So big shout out to him on that. I really just, I thought it was so cool how they gave each superhero their own scene, even in terms of the fighting aspect, where they were able to work off of each one of their positives, and it was really, really well done, that aspect of it. So overall, I cannot tell you how much I highly recommend this movie. If you like superhero movies, you will love this. If you like Marvel movies, you will love this. If you like Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, or anybody else's movies, you will super love this. One thing I do want to touch on, I've never been big into 3D movies, like I said, but this movie, I really feel that it's worth the extra few bucks to see it in IMAX 3D. One thing that made me want to see it was the fact that Joss Whedon has said that when he was filming it, he didn't do any of the standard, 3D tricks, where they do long shots or people pointing at the screen to make, look like they're touching. And that's what I liked, is that it didn't feel like it broke up the flow of the movie. It didn't feel like, oh, well, this movie's, the only reason that this is even happening is because of 3D. Oh, the only reason this scene is doing this is because of 3D. I never felt that at any point. And that was really impressive to me, because they very easily could have done that. And I think it would have taken away from the movie. But instead, they used 3D as a tool instead of basing the movie around it. And for that reason, I really, really recommend it. I definitely will say that this is one of the only 3D movies I've seen that would almost make me buy a 3D TV for it. It was that awesome. So overall, what do I give it? Well, I'm doing it. I'm giving it 5 stars. It is officially, in my opinion, a classic superhero movie. I don't know. I almost don't want them to make an Avengers 2 because I really don't think that it could top this. This was the quintessential superhero movie. And it was so well done, I cannot not give it 5 stars. And what's so impressive to me is that it very easily could have been a 4.5-star movie if they wouldn't have let Loki lead it, or if they wouldn't have done this specific scene or this specific scene. And they worked flawlessly. I would have loved to have been on the set, because I'm sure that these guys all got along perfectly, and you can just see it come across the screen. Even in scenes of, in the beginning when they're kind of at each other's throats, there's still just this perfect chemistry. And it was very, very well done. So also want to touch on the fact that, as with all the Marvel movies, there is an after scene. So make sure you stay. But, well, before we go into the but, this scene actually, it hasn't been really said exactly what the trailer, what the preview is for. There's been talk that it's for Avengers 2, obviously, but I believe, as well as some other people do, that this is actually the hint for Thor 2, because Thor 2 is coming out, I believe, next year. So I think that's what it is, but I'm not sure. Then, if you wait through all the credits, which are some of the longest credits you'll ever seen, I swear, like 2 million people worked on this movie, and they all get credit for something. But if you wait all the way through it, there's a pretty funny scene. It's a 30-second long little clip. No words are even spoken in it, but I thought it was hilarious. I was laughing all the way out of the movie the second time. I didn't get to see it the first time. But it's one of those things you could probably look it up online if you don't want to wait around. So just letting you guys know. I thought it was funny just because it was a little play off of one piece of dialogue that Tony Stark had said in the middle of a battle. But that's just my opinion. So there you go. Hope you guys, if you haven't had a chance to see Avengers yet, please go and see it. Make sure that you've at least seen Iron Man 1 and 2 and Thor first. If you haven't had a chance to see the Incredible Hulk, or Hulk, Incredible Hulk, or Captain America First Avenger, that's okay. There isn't much, like I said, that carries over from those two. But there is a lot from Thor. So definitely make sure you've seen Thor. So let me know what you guys think. Did you love this movie as much as I did? How would you rate it out of 1 to 5? As you guys know, 1 is a bomb, 2 is bad, 3 is average, 3.5 is about what most movies are. 4 is good, 4.5 is great, 5 is classic. I have said this is classic. It's the first movie I've seen twice in the theater since I was a little kid, let's put it that way. And I legitimately could see me seeing it again, just to see just how awesome it looks on the big screen. So we'll see. I don't know if I really will. We'll see. So let me know what you guys think. Did you love it? Did you think they could have done it better? Did you think where would you rate it with the other Marvel movies? I'm curious, as always. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you, as always, for checking out my videos and my review of Marvel's The Avengers. And until the next video, well, check out the rest of mine. Of course, you can always check out my videos on MatthewMaley.com. Finally getting that updated and ready to go. Check out the video blog tab, as always. You can check me out on YouTube. Search for Matthew Maley Poker. Got all my videos. You can like, comment, subscribe. Watch them a billion times. Cool by me. You can always follow your boy on Twitter, @Matthew Maley. And, of course, like your boy's page on Facebook. Search for Matthew Maley Poker. And until next time, I'm going to go put back on my Iron Man mask and try to fly around my house. Yeah, I probably am. So I'm officially signing off. Peace out, y'all.